And I know it sounds a little bit dramatic, but I promise it's not. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I have my socials. Go ahead and follow my Instagram, my TikTok, my Twitter, and also subscribe. I know a lot of people don't make it to the end of the video, so I'd like to let you know now. Subscribe, hit that notification button. I make a lot of music reactions, story times, videos like this where I share a little more personal and vulnerable stuff because I feel like that's the importance of my channel. Personally, that's what I enjoy making the most. Speaking to you guys, being as authentic as I can be, and yeah, just talking. I'm a big yapper, so I guess that's what this video is for. I wanted to make this video because it's something that sounds very exaggerated just by reading the title, but to me it was a very real experience. So I quit my job about almost like 2.5, no, 3.5 weeks ago. I believe it was October 15th, the day that I quit my job. And I didn't quit just because I gave up, I guess. In a way, I mean, from a perspective, I guess you can kind of see it that way, but it was a long time before I actually caved into making that decision. And I've worked a total of 3 jobs this year. The first one that I was with was a job that I was with for like 2.5 years. I was working as a barista, and then I quit to work in something more professional because I did graduate last year in August. So it's been a little over a year since I graduated, and I was on the job hunt ever since. So I decided to quit and navigate myself through that career path, or a career path in general, because I just didn't have one yet. And I did graduate with a degree in marketing from San Diego State University. So I've always been looking for something within my wheelhouse of wanting to do something with business and marketing and anything that could give me experience. But anyway, enough of the boring stuff. I began that second job this year after being a barista, and then there was like a company layoff. So after 2 months, since I was new, they decided to pick me as someone who would be part of the company layoff, which was unfortunate. And that kind of was a little dark period in my life because I was very stable for a while. For those 2 months working there, I had my schedule, my routine, my 9 to 5, and I was very comfortable and happy where I was. However, it was kind of a blessing in disguise because I knew long term that wasn't a job that I wanted to stay with. So after that, after I got laid off, it took me like a month and a half to begin the job that I just recently quit. So I began late July and I quit mid October. So this job was more of like a sales job, and honestly there was like a month of training, which is honestly really fun because I had a whole crew. Like it was like 12 of us beginning the sales job together. They did it in the span of classes in order to go through the month long training because it was a lot of information to take in and process and just really let marinate in our brain. So after a month, that's when we really began the actual sales. Like we had practice sales, but then we began like the actual sales. And after a while, like I was enjoying it because it was challenging. It was fun at certain times, but it was more than anything challenging mentally, and just it took a lot of energy to really be in that position of like sales with that specific industry that I was working in. But the point is that after like a few weeks, after like 3 weeks almost of doing that job, I was like, whoa, I I literally could not stop thinking about work when I wasn't at work. Like it was that kind of job where there was so much pressure, it was very high demand, like from our managers, from our team members, my lead, like everyone was amazing. I loved absolutely everyone that I worked with. It wasn't even about the staff or the management, like I have no complaints there. It was more about the actual job itself because I think that I'm an overachiever, not in the way that like, oh, like I achieve so much or whatever, like I think I put so much pressure on myself to achieve what I think I can't, and it puts a lot of pressure on me, and it sets these really high standards for absolutely anything that I do. Even with YouTube, I'm like, oh, I need to make these many videos and get like this many views and this many subscribers just to feel like fulfilled, I guess, in the sense of YouTube. But what the job was more about, I guess, yeah, sensing or feeling a sense of fulfillment with the quality of my sales and just the numbers. It was all numbers at the end of the day. Um, excuse me, I need some coffee. But yeah, so after a while, I was like, fuck. Like, I remember on a random Tuesday, I went to go play pickleball with one of my very, very close friends. And I just was not feeling great. I think it was after work. I was just like, I was expressing to him that I don't like my job and that I just feel so much pressure. I can't stop thinking about it. I was dreaming about work. I was just in my head 24/7 about my performance and the goals that I needed every single day. Like, it was so much. And like, in retrospect, I think I could have maybe tried. I mean, I did try. That's the thing. Like, I tried to lay off the pressure and the stress and just kind of let it be. And the point of the cells, there was a lot of pressure to meet the requirements for becoming eligible for a bonus, because it was a bonus that became qualified after a month. It was like on a month to month basis. It wasn't like on a cell to cell basis or day to day or week to week. It was monthly. So for the whole month, like, you had to stay on track of like your numbers and just, like, make sure that you're doing what you need to do. Is this my straw? Oh shit, it is my straw. Sorry about that. I thought it was like a piece of paper or something. 24/7 I was thinking about work. Even on the weekends, like, I felt like I could barely relax because after Friday, after I clocked out, I was like, okay, whether it was a good or bad day, it didn't even matter. Like, if it were a good day of sales, like if I made enough sales and, like, I guess surpassed the amount that I needed on that day, I didn't even feel like I could breathe a little more than if I wouldn't have made the sales that I needed. But I just felt so much pressure. I was like, okay, so it's Friday, clocked out, and I'm like, fuck, on Monday I'm gonna have to do this and this. But like, I literally just began the weekend and I'm already thinking about Monday, and I think I realized that it wasn't a job that I can mentally sustain. And that was on like September 18th when I felt that way, that when I was like, fuck, like, I need to quit. Or I called out and I was like, I need a mental break. I need a day to myself. I got on a 30-minute call with my manager, and I just decided that um or I guess I just needed to talk to her about how I was feeling. And I'm telling you, the management there was amazing. She heard me out. Like, she didn't even need to take that 30-minute phone call with me, but she did. And I felt really lucky to just be heard and vocalize everything that I felt like I needed to. But anyway, I didn't quit. I almost held on for another month of like just constantly feeling miserable, absolutely miserable, to the point where I would get home and I just didn't want to socialize, didn't want to do anything. All I would do was get home, work out, go on a walk to help me just get a mental break, get some fresh air. And even after all that, I just felt like a pulsing, like, pressure of, like, I guess, anxiety and nervousness and stress, and just I was just worrying about work 24/7. And the day I decided, I mean, let's not even get there, but yeah, I guess I started journaling too, because I stopped going to therapy earlier this year after I quit my barista job, because they gave me the benefits to get into therapy, which I was very lucky and blessed to go through. But unfortunately, when I quit, I lost those benefits. And when I got another job, because I had another job, I was like, you know what, I think I'll be fine. And after I got laid off, I went down another really dark rabbit hole, and I just have to hang in there. I mean, I've always been, I guess, strong enough to just hang in there and be strong and like push through. And to this day, I give myself credit for at least that, for at least like pushing through the hard moments, the hard times, or just the mental struggle of it all, because it's a really hard thing. It's a really hard thing to get through, especially when you feel like it's kind of the end of the world. But yeah, like after a month, or I guess I began journaling. And I've always been scared of journaling because it really makes, like, it forces you to be in touch with how you're feeling, and it forces you to look at it, like visually, like look at it, and it just makes it more real. So when I began journaling, even before I quit, like, I had a really dark day. I went to the park and I journaled, and I was like, fuck, like, this is how I'm feeling. And I got home and I remember just like going to my room, just I don't know, putting a hoodie on, just not wanting to associate with anything or anyone. And I I guess I needed some comfort, so I came to my sister's room and I didn't really want to talk. I just wanted to be in her presence. So she began conversation with me and I just really didn't feel like talking. I was like mute challenge. Like I just didn't feel like talking. I was not in the mood whatsoever. But I did want to like talk to her or communicate with her in one way or another. So I gave her my journal. I was like, "This is what I wrote down today, and you can read it." And I just don't feel like talking. I let her read it, and like the first thing that she told me after she read what I had wrote down was that you need to quit. Like I don't really. I'm starting like not to recognize you anymore. You seem really down all the time, and I don't like what this job is doing to you mentally, and I know it may be hard and may not be what you want to do, but for your own sake, like you have to quit. And even after that, that was like 2 weeks maybe before I quit, and then I remember waking up on the day that I quit. It was October 15th. It was a Tuesday. I woke up with a lot of anxiety. It was really random. It was like after a long like holiday weekend, and I just woke up feeling like fuck, like I can't go. Like I need to I need to either call out or just not show up, or but then that was just like the very irrational part of my brain speaking. So I decided to quit. I decided to go in and just feel it out. I was feeling like shit. I called my sister when I got to work, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm just not happy. I feel really sad and lost and anxious, and I don't know what to do. And she just gave me the reassurance that I needed to pretty much just quit and talk to my manager and had like have that conversation, because I was already in talks of changing departments. Like I wasn't trying to give up. I wanted to stay with the company and hopefully transfer to a different department that was in specifically sales. And I I guess I was kind of in the process of that, but there were still talks of like whether or not that was happening. But for me, like I did give it time. Like I give it like a week after I interviewed, after I was in contact with the manager from that other department, and even then it just didn't work out. I heard nothing back, and I didn't want to keep pressuring or being very persistent on like moving departments, because I didn't feel like they necessarily owed me anything, and I just didn't want to be a bother, and pretty much force them to, do that for my own sake. So I decided to be in touch and like really give myself that acknowledgement that like I had to quit, because this was honestly the first, not the first, but like one of the very few moments where I've felt like I wanted to like end it all, or just you know just not feel that pain or that worriness or that anxiety, the stress, all of that. I just wanted to you like not feel that anymore. I wanted to just end it all and stop feeling what I was feeling, because it was really horrible. I've been dealing with um a specific mental illness for like the past year and a half, almost two maybe, and because of all the stress and pressure, like it really elevated the the I guess level of horridness of that, I guess, mental illness, and it became a thing where I felt it every day, and it became a cycle every single day that I felt like that, which is almost every day, even on the weekends. Like I couldn't. I needed to drown out my feelings and my stress and my anxiety through that horrible coping mechanism that I'm still working through, but it was just at an all-time high, and I just wasn't recognizing myself anymore, and it was really scary because I really didn't know what to do. It's really hard to share this, but it for me, like I love talking about like my vulnerable moments. Like, I guess the less people know about you, the better. But for me, making content and all, like, how am I supposed to do that if I'm not being myself, if I'm not sharing the parts that I think make me me? You know, I was resilient. I need to give myself more credit for being strong enough to even continue as long as I did with that job, knowing that it wasn't for me anymore after like a whole month. And I did it, and fortunately, I don't feel that pressure anymore. I'm not working there anymore, and I just feel like I'm moving on to things that are for me, no matter what they are, and I have more time for the things that I love, and more time for the people that I love, and more time for myself in a healthy way. And yeah, I don't know, I think my tip for people who are in a similar position, whether it's with work or whatever it may be, if you're tied to something that causes you a lot of stress, anxiety, or just really just is messing with you mentally, like, I really hope you could find an outlet to get help or find a new path. And as scary as it may be, like, I did not want to quit my job. I have the privilege of still being able to live at home and not having to worry so much about finances. Like, yeah, I have my own bills to pay and things like that, but I was able to be in a good spot to be able to quit. And I know not everybody's in that same position, but I'm taking advantage of that right now that I can, and hopefully heading in the path of finding who I am career wise and personally, and just focusing on like all the things that make me happy and can challenge me in good ways, and also just help me grow as like an individual, because I'm still in my early 20s, and this is a time to learn and grow. So I had to really grasp the truth that like, it's scary, but you have to do it, and you have to choose what's best for you now. Because if you're just waiting, like, if I knew if I didn't quit, things would just get worse. Things would just get worse, and I don't know how bad it would have gotten, but I knew I was miserable and I had to get out of there. And I did it for my own sake, for my own happiness and mental stability, and I really am happy that I made that decision. Like, am I where I want to be? Obviously not. I feel like we're always heading in the direction we want to be. Thank you so much for watching. If you did stay through this whole video, I hope you liked the video, learned something about it, learned something about me. Comment down anything that you want to share, absolutely anything. Like this video to support, even a like. If you're not going to subscribe, totally fine, but you know, still subscribe if you can. You don't, you know, it helps. But yeah, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, share this video with anyone who you think might resonate with anything that I might have shared. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.